huge advantage. Foggy Snugger just wiped off the map.
일단 제가 대회를 오면서 준비해놓은 전략들이 굉장히 많았는데 여기까지 올라오면서 사실 다 썼어요. 그래가지고 미천이 좀 거덜나긴 했는데 새로운 전략을 좀 더 생각을 하던지 아니면 지금까지 해왔던 걸 조금 더 날카롭게 가다듬고 실수를 줄이는 게 제일 중요한 것 같습니다.
Can you hear it, more peasants
from across the ocean? USA. USA.
That's going to be a really tough match, probably even harder than Sock, and I'm going to have to come very prepared, especially because he plays Elf, and as we all know, it's impossible for Orc to beat Elf, so yeah, it's gonna be a rough one.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Analysis Desk, where we are gonna get ready for our second semi-finals of this beautiful DreamHack Warcraft 3 Championship. I am joined by the Golden Boys of Back to Warcraft. Guys, we're getting ready for Hitman versus LawLiet, but first, let's go back to that previous best of 5 real quick. A lot shorter than I would have liked it to see. And even though I'm happy because obviously he's been working very hard for this, he's been so dominant, he plays at an unreal level. It hurts me to see the GOAT go down like this, Neo.
Yeah, it feels like the big game anxiety is real once again. This was not his best Warcraft. This is not what we're used to seeing. Also in Asian competition when he's facing 1-2-0, it was just not his day.
Yeah. A bit sad to see here the legend going out this way. Now, still a good finish for him, I would say, if he had played his best, if it had been a close game. Also, I think could have been prouder of himself, but he knows himself. This really wasn't his best. Far from his best. Lots of mistakes in there we're not used to seeing. If for some reason it keeps happening to Happy's opponents, I don't know what it is. Is it the aura? Is it the pressure? Happy never fails, but the opponents seem to do so.
Perhaps Happy's greatness does force a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes, even to the very best out there, the likes like Moon. This is one of these series where, I said it before, when it rains, it pours. Let's hope that our second semi-final is going to be a lot closer. I am incredibly excited for this one. Obviously, we want to hear from you guys at home who you think is going to meet Happy in these grand finals. Hashtag Law for LawLiet or hashtag Hit for Hitman. I think we can figure that one out, right? That's not too complicated. Let's do it, boys. Orc versus Night Elf. We just saw a little preview. Hitman already joking that Night Elf is impossible to beat for Orc. Is it that bad, Neo?
It is really hard, that's for sure. But of course, impossible is nothing. And LawLiet is not the #1 Night Elf versus Orc player, I would say. That is rather the Moons, that is rather maybe even the Colorful of this world. So I wonder what LawLiet has prepared. He's very stable, he's very good, but he's not extraordinary as he is in matchups versus Night Elf or Human.
Yeah, we have had a chance to talk to LawLiet before. He sounded very confident against Hitman. He always, like, this whole year in the DreamHack seasons, he said many times, I would love to just play against Orc at times, because he enjoys the matchup so much. And Neo's right, Colorful and Moon can certainly be considered to be a bit stronger, but also LawLiet is known for being very strong in that matchup with many different styles. Something also that stands out, by the way, 3 players left now, right, with Moon out of the picture. And we have a very beautiful, diverse group of players here as well. We have 1 Night Elf, 1 Orc, and 1 Undead, of course, with Happy being there, and 1 of each region represented. We have Europe, Asia, and America still in the mix.
Only 2 can make the final though, Remo, but that's indeed beautiful. We already mentioned that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the head-to-head between these two and see how Hitman and LawLiet shape up against each other. A lot of words about Hitman, and you could definitely say this is one of these nothing to lose, everything to win kind of series. But that's also kind of silly because you're not every day in the semi-finals of such a massive Warcraft 3 tournament, so there is always something to lose. But he does seem very calm and relaxed. And honestly, I do think he played his absolute best Warcraft so far in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, it was a pretty great performance. It's of course a rematch of Anaheim. These guys have met before, and it was the upset of the group stage when Hitman was able to take down LawLiet. But of course, it's also 1.5 years ago. It seems like both are peaking at the perfect time. LawLiet is coming fresh of a silver medal in NEXT, and Hitman is scary.
Yeah, absolutely. What I'm wondering today is who's going to be more inventive with their strategies. It feels like in this matchup specifically, we've moved away quite a bit from the Keeper standard meta, and the maps can tell us quite something about that. We see the vetoes here. We see LawLiet removing Echo Isles. It's very obvious. It's the best map for Orcs, and Hitman removing Tight Hunters. That might be a bit of a tell already Farseer play very popular on Tidehunters. Hitman removing that may not want to go with Farseer at all this series.
I mean, we spoke a lot about Hitman so far, and obviously for all the right reasons. We don't see Americans make too many deep runs in massive RTS tournaments in general. But let's give LawLiet a little more love, because he's an incredibly charismatic guy. Yesterday, I had a little chat with him. He's like, who are you? Who are you? Go back to Warcraft. Just because I predicted Foggy to be there. I was like, I'm sorry. I'll predict you to win tomorrow. He's like, okay, nice to meet you, Rotterdam. And I was like, you know, it's actually lovely to have those little interactions. But he's been chasing this massive W for a long time as well, right, Neo?
Yeah, he's always been in the shadow of Moon and Lin, obviously, who are the Korean dominators of the scene and the legends, because they were there in the 2000s, right? But he was one of the newer generations rising when the big offline tournaments were coming back in the midst of the 2010s. And there was when he made the splash. There was when we saw, okay, this guy is not only very entertaining, but also hella strong and super creative. But that only led him into grand finals and never to the trophy. He's been in Tier 1 finals before and he lost them all. He's chasing this dream for 5 years plus, and this might be his last chance.
He has won tournaments, just not the biggest, right?
Exactly.
Like, he's won some Tier 2 tournaments, but this would obviously be by far and away the biggest win of his career. Just making the final would already be the biggest payday of his career. It is time for us to get our official predictions in. Since I don't want LawLiet to hoo me again, I'm going to say that LawLiet takes it, but I just hope it's going to be close. I hope it's a banger. 3-2 for LawLiet.
I'm going to go with my heart again on this one. I would love to see NA take it far here. Hitman 3-2.
You know what? I talked to LawLiet and he said, I heard the desk saying that they don't believe in me, and then he won that match. So I say 3-1 Hitman.
So he's going to win again, and that's...
Reverse psychology.
I see how it is. All right, now obviously we want to hear from you guys at home as well. Actually kind of curious, let's see if the USA fanboys have shown up in full force, or if you guys truly think the Night Of is going to get it done. Close, 53-47. I mean, if that's the preview to how close the games are going to be, I'm going to be very happy, Remo.
Oh, it just jumped to 52. We're almost perfectly evened out as well. You know, it's still a bit early for America, especially. I wonder how many nerds out there set their alarm for this match, especially today. I imagine quite a few.
Alarms? They didn't sleep since Hitman's first match. They live in the Twitch chat here. Didn't you see them?
They've been going hard. That's what I like to see, gentlemen.
Last night, at the end of the day, I messed up my time zone, so I told all the Americans to show up 2 hours earlier than they were supposed to. But at least you guys were here. You didn't miss the first semifinals. Neo, we are ready. The players are ready. Casters are ready. Any final thoughts?
Whoever wins the grand final is a crazy story, and this is such a crazy tournament. Just let the games begin.
Remo?
Yeah, let's kick it off. One more finalist. May the best man win.
May the best man win. That's the perfect way to end it. Let's go ahead and get the second semifinal started. ToD Carson, take it away.
Second semifinal. Who has the daunting task of facing Happy in the grand finals? One more best of 5 before we have that grand final. ToD, I'm a little nervous again. Not gonna lie, a little nervous.
Me too, me too. There's a lot on the line here. Which region is the best? There's a Jester costume on the line. Who would have thought? You know, all the humans are already out, so I'm out of the picture. But Neo seems to think that Hitman cannot win this tournament. So he said that if he does, he will be the one wearing that costume. Let's jump right into map number 1 here between these two. Starting in the top right-hand side. In the reds, playing Night Elf from South Korea. It is LawLiet.
In the bottom left, the bottom leaves for our first map from the US of A. It is Hitman. Oh, and the land of the free and the home of the brave. And a fast shop at that as well. Going to be a Blade Master opener. Going to probably be a Keeper opener. But what happens later on is the real question mark, I suppose. LawLiet has plenty of tricks up his sleeve. Hitman has plenty of flowcharts written down, tattooed in his memory, should I say.
Yeah, these two players met 4 times in the last 3 years. And they actually played 2 weeks ago. That was their last encounter in the first playday of Warcraft 3 Info League, the best team league out there. So immediately getting right into the heat of the action. I can't believe actually that these two somehow met in the first playday. But that was a 2-1 win for LawLiet. And on the specific maps, map 1 was Autumn Lives. Hitman played a different brand of Orc than what you usually would see against Elf, in that He played Blade Shadow, yes, but he goes Grunt into Bloodlust and then adds a Pit Lord third. Was able to win that game, but then lost 1 and 2. So wasn't able to be successful overall in the best of 3. I'm sure he's learned plenty of that, but so has LawLiet. And there is some adjustments they can make if Hitman was to hit that style that he used in 2 games out of the 3 that they played recently.
Absolutely, yeah. That tier 3 style can be very, very strong. It can definitely favor the Orc in the late game because you have the Serpent Wards, you have the Pit Lord to carry you, and of course Bloodlust is always a strong carry. So if it gets to the late game, it's always going to be strong for the Orc, especially against the Keeper. But it's the early game, the mid game that makes it difficult for Hitman. Can LawLiet secure that expansion? Can he get some grunt kills? Can he even hide that Ancient Protector that we saw earlier in this tournament? Northern Isles, Focus, let that get up, and got absolutely dominated by it. So that's something these peons that we're seeing on our screen right now are going to have to keep an eye on.
LawLiet is definitely one of those players that's also very versatile, but it seems like against Orc, he probably feels like he doesn't need to particularly be, right? We haven't been seeing much out of the ordinary stuff, much bears or anything like that.
Yep.
It's been a lot of very standard play, reliant on just that Keeper, Alchemist meta with a lot of Hunts and Archers, which, as we know, Hitman, he struggled against. That's the big question going into this series. Have we overstated that? If we listen to the interview, it sounds like not, because he himself says that's a really tough matchup of his.
Yeah, and I think it's worth noting, I mean, Moon and Colorful and even Foggy, they pretty much played this pure standard Archer Hunt style, like you mentioned with the Alchemist second. And LawLiet, he's done some weird stuff in the past, but I think he's now seeing the success that players, especially like Moon and Colorful, have had by just playing pure standard and may just stick to that. So far, it is standard, at least Claws of Attack. Expecting to see an expansion, maybe not instantly, but eventually. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled on that mini-map because this is what this whole strat revolves around.
Do you think that Hitman going for tier 3 and Bloodlust and a third hero with the Pit Lord depends on what he sees and he's facing, or is it more choice by map? Or where like on certain maps it's going to be stronger because of like certain crypts and stuff?
It's normally very good on maps like Northern Isles, Autumn Leaves, Tide Hunters, and Concealed Hill. I think those are the 4 big ones. But generally when Hitman at least will go for this because I know Hitman's told me all this stuff from his own mouth. When you trade expansions, when the Orc cannot get his expansion up and LawLiet maybe loses his expansion to say a level 3 Shadowhunter timing, that's when both players tend to go tier 3. They say whatever. LawLiet goes for his orbs and his try here. Nice block there with the grunt for a second, but it will eventually slip away. And then Hitman will go for tier 3 and then maybe get that tiny Great Hall along with all those other nice upgrades too.
So maybe on maps where like expanding is very easy like this, he's expecting that for the elf it's going to be easier to take his.
Yeah.
And then because it will be hard maybe for Hitman to take his, or like if you get it cancelled, maybe like you're in so much trouble, then he prefers to instead just rush to tier 3. That makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
Actually.
Yeah.
But still, Hitman is the one player that I've seen go for that style. It's very unique in that. Almost no other Orc I've seen actually attempt to go for this Bloodlust strategy.
Yeah, they all seem to prefer earlier Bestiary and really to just brute force that expansion. But, if you get it canceled maybe twice, 3 times, sometimes happens, you can be very, very far behind. Love that Hitman, by the way, stole the Staff of Teleportation. If you do not steal that, if you don't use that Wind Walk to get a little bit ahead of the Keeper just staffs to a random part of the map and starts creeping, and there's no way for Hitman to find him again. So this is honestly an excellent early game. The fact the Keeper's on level 1.7, even though the Blade is also under-leveled, it's definitely favoring Hitman.
Yeah, usually that's the whole point. Like the Blade is there to just slow down the elf. It's really when the Shadowhunter comes out that you start leveling. Having a Blade 1 and a Shadow 3, or sometimes even 4, okay, probably doesn't happen, that's an exaggeration, but would be totally fine. You don't need to level the Blade in the first place. He's going to start leveling when you'll need him here for the fight, and when you finally start killing units, which happens way later on anyway.
Yeah, the big carry, weirdly, in this sort of matchup for the Orc will be the Shadowhunter with those Serpent Wards and the heal wave, whereas the Blade Master, if you get him to level 2, you can scrape that level 2 together. You just go Mirror Image, and then he becomes quite the tank, because you can use that to have plenty of survivability. But the Grunts will creep, will get level 2, and LawLiet also going to get level 2, and that tree not yet scouted. It seems like Hitman ends up giving a little bit of space, and what do you see? Just an immediate expansion as soon as that Keeper has an inch of breathing room.
Oh, did you see what Hitman did with the Grunts actually down there? He waited until the Shadow was closed. He wasn't finishing those creeps on purpose. Nice little detail. He waited for the Shadow to be there and then finished them off, so he got maximum experience from those creeps just for his Shadow, not for the Blades. And he's going to enter the game here with a Shadow level 0.5 immediately and go to the consumable item camp as he's looking to try and get a cancel on that tree. Shouldn't be able to when you look at the hit points bar here. And because there is a Sentinel, he's also going to have to get out of there pretty fast as to not put his Blade in danger.
Yeah, the main focus, though, for that Blade is just, of course, the fact that the Shadowhunter isn't getting creepjacked right now. As long as he can force the Keeper back, whether it be by threatening to cancel that expansion or threatening to cancel later on the Entangling Gold Mine, that will always keep the Shadowhunter safe. So that's why the Hitman's Blade Master is so aggressive, and Scroll the Beast not the best. And Alchemist now, the aggression turns to the side of Hitman.
I'm guessing that if Hitman wanted to go for tier 3, he would have already started it. So it looks like he may be playing the more standard style of Grunt Shaman and an expansion sometime soon. And you had the Bestiary immediately after the expansions going up. Moonglaive just completed. So these hunts just became a whole lot scarier here. Acid Bomb going to be used immediately. Blade on the other side still applying pressure onto that tree. And being very annoying, to be honest. And he's not even carrying a single damage item as opposed to the Keeper.
Yeah, the Grunt's kind of eating acid bombs there a little bit, but the Alchemist has to back away. Keeper would love to be level 3. Yeah. Very annoying.
Move, tree, move!
He could block it, and he could stop it from rooting. He can do a lot of annoying things. The insta for the creeps. So first blood is going to go the way, potentially, of Hitman. Okay, Purge there, but the Purges this early on are very, very expensive.
Yeah, he already has the second Shaman, and it's building up on mana already, so I don't even mind it. And +2 armor already on the way here for Hitman.
Yeah.
Very good job with the upgrades, getting those going early. Of course, it's the standard in this matchup to get the +2 armor very quickly, so everything's more durable. And of course, yeah, it is Healing Wave here, as it should be for Hitman, but still, you almost always... Ooh, he already used the staff to get on the other side of the map. I think he's dead, maybe, if there is a dust. Not even needed, as the second Sentinel was already in position. Hitman with a little bit of an overextension here.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of nice things for LawLiet there as well. He realizes the Shadowhunter's creeping is so quick and the expansion was a little bit delayed and he lost a Huntress, that he just goes for that AP. Hitman sees, oh no, he's building an AP and I want to push with the Shadow level 3. Goes in for the cancel. LawLiet already preemptively has the Sentinel on the tree, so just really nice sequence there from LawLiet, and now Hitman is not going to be able to deny this expansion. He might have to just counter Expo.
Maybe he forgot that he had just used staff to go back across the map here, which, to be honest, wasn't even really necessary. It just seemed like LawLiet really wanted to engage, right? When you move this close to the opponent's base, usually you actually mean it, but now it just fully disengaged. I don't know what that integral is. Carson, that's not going to do anything, but the engagement is forced. Blade's about to rejoin that location here. Serpent Wards, they give more experience than they used to, so you need to be careful about, I guess, sacking them like this if you're gonna do that. But Scroll the Beast used, and immediately LawLiet starts running away. Is there any Purges to punish those hunts? He gets one of them before that, but LawLiet should be able to get out now.
Yeah, he purged the Treants, I think, to the back, which maybe he could have got another Huntress or even a Town Portal Force there if he had used the Purges more aggressively. But he's going to find his way to the expansion. Hitman counter-expanding behind it, so this is just to buy time. A very similar way you may expand against Human, pressuring while expoing, so there's no chance of it being cancelled. Hitman would like probably a heal scroll. LawLiet might want a bit more mana on that Keeper, and the Ancient War is the target, actually.
I wonder if maybe going for one of the middle camps would have been better, because like the Scroll of the Beast was still active. That's what might be making him overconfident and pushing into the elf base. Now Wisp coming in, very nice micro from Hitman, sniping that before he would connect onto the Shamans here. As the Orc here, you want to fight up until everything's low and then get out of there, go home, use healing salves and everything. Actually, he's got 4 salves in his inventory.
Yeah, Hitman yet to really lose a unit other than that blade earlier.
The Shadow.
Huntresses, is that a surround? He's got to be careful. The Alchemist also quite exposed. Entangle, where's the Purge? He gets out of it, but the Acid Bomb isn't going to tick. The Archer, the Glaive. Oh, is that going to die? The Acid Bomb's still ticking away. The Keeper's going to catch up. One more attack around the trees. Speed Scroll, salve over top. 40, 50 health. Cancel on the salve. Could he buy a potion of vulnerability? He would die going into the shop right now. And a lot is going to be lost for Hitman in the process of getting out of here.
Yeah, he's on the run. He might have overextended big time here. LawLiet very patient. Saw the Scroll to be started running home. Waited for Hitman to go way deep into his base. Use some Wisps. Not even really to connect, but he bought a little bit of time and attacks that were being spent on that. And immediately after LawLiet, he knows now that he can just creep the Merchant easily, start grabbing some Scroll, perhaps some Invuln. And on the other side, Hitman just kind of has to go home, lick his wounds, replenish those hit points and mana pool, and perhaps re-engage sometime soon.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Like, what he's doing now, he should have done with that Scroll to Beast active immediately after LawLiet backed away, because not only does he get the experience, but he also can get a Berserker, which he just picks up now, and gets a nice item as well. I think that would have been a great choice, and he still protects his expansion when doing this. So LawLiet is massively ahead. Mana Stone, though, that is obviously, you know, one of the better items on the map, and that's going to be huge for the Shadowhunter. LawLiet goes now to the lab and going to creep himself. Hard to say if Hitman's in fighting shape. He's down supply, of course, but Lightning Shield and the Shadowhunter can always carry.
LawLiet is going very archer heavy. I think that's because some grunts died. There's only 3 grunts right now. You know, if there was 5 or 6 against this many archers, it can be very dangerous. Maybe identified, okay, like Serpent Warriors are going to be scary. Maybe even calculated that the Berserker was going to be bought. But now, still melee weapons being researched. So some attack upgrades being researched for Hitman as well. 43 supply to 63 though. You know, like Warcraft 3. You don't need to look at the supply as much as StarCraft 2, but it's still pretty important here.
Yeah, and Hitman is, of course, waiting for his bestiary as well, so the supply will rise once that comes up. Raiders and a single Kodo beast is essential. Heal scroll, going to be very, very important from this shop. LawLiet already has 1. We'll probably have 2 soon. Worth noting that, you know, the upkeep is costing LawLiet quite a bit. Hitman could catch up in supply if LawLiet gives a little bit more space, but he probably won't now that his Alchemist is level 3.
Definitely should replenish some mana first, perhaps, because his Keeper is actually on very little mana right now. I guess Clarity is out there for the Alchemist. And Hitman's the one to push again here. 53 supply. He's got quite a good amount of mana for himself to work with. Shadow is 4.2. Level 5 Shadow, one of the biggest power spikes possible here. Usually, if Orc gets 5-5, you know, a lot of the time they're going to win those games. I mean, it's very presumptuous here to talk about this because Blade's very far away, but that Shadow level, extremely important as well down the line.
And the Archers is so good. Ooh, 100's out of position, immediately purged. Dust is there, he'll clean up that 100. Second 100's out of position. So far, very good opener, but the staff is there because the shop is aggressive. Look at all the wisps. Perhaps they could have flanked a little bit around, but Hitman will get his at least 1 kill and maybe get out of there. He's just trying to buy time, perhaps, to catch up in supply. Doesn't want to actually engage.
LawLiet struggled to actually properly engage into this. Now he's like, I'm so sick of these snakes on this mother trucking map. Going for the push with the wisps. Those wisps are going to be super dangerous. It's so hard, actually, to split against this. You have to send the shamans back, try to target the wisps with as much as possible. If you ignore them entirely and they detonate into your shamans, it's going to be a disaster, because then the Keeper can become even more effective. Okay, Detonate was a little slow on that first Lightning Shield, but now the Orc army, he's trying to get on top of the Archers. In particular, Blademaster could get targeted very quickly. He doesn't have Mirror Image. He went for Critical Strike instead. The Wisps inside of the Shaman line.
Yeah, the Blademaster's taking a ton of damage, has to go away. The Scroll of the Beast is doing so much. The snakes in the back are going to get focused down, but the Archers would love another heal scroll. The Shadowhunter still has a ton of mana, had a potion of mana and that mana stone, but the Archer line just isn't being focused. The expansion is gonna be dead soon if Hitman cannot defend somehow, and it's looking very, very dire. The Blade no closer to level 3, or he might be able to get it right now, actually, if he can get 1 kill, but the heal spray is always there, and the grunts are starting to drop. The Blade almost dropping, the Purge, the heal wave, the focus fire, and the Blade dies for not the first, but the second time for Hitman.
And the Shadowhunter still very close to level 5. He's struggling to kill any units here because the front line is mostly gone and the back line will die very quickly against this many Archers. Or is there an Ancient Protector here? What is this siege? LawLiet, the Madman, with a perfect hold earlier on, now with a gigantic push, and thanks to the help of that Scroll of the Beast, pushing through this army, getting rid of the front line, and now it looks like he might be able to open up the scoreboard here in these semifinals.
Yeah, that AP walking all the way from the expansion, I believe. Wisps now still find their mark. The Kodo a bit out of position. The Blade 40 seconds away. More Wisps even. Shadowhunter quite low on mana. Almost level 5. He's getting solo experience right now. But the Archers just can't be dealt with. The Grunts just die when they go into the backline. And yeah, the Snakes are going to be good, but Treants and Ancient Protectors, the Alchemist has about 1 more heal spray, and all the Grunts are about to fall in the front. Last heal wave for a little while. Mana Potion was already used. This is looking like a 1-0.
Yeah, Hitman would have loved to be able to wait for the Blademaster. We see in the top left here, he's 10 more seconds away from finishing. He would have lost his expansion certainly before being able to get that back. Shadowhunter 4.8, he's barely killed anything, but he's losing everything once he engages there. This DPS from the Night Elf army, just too much to handle. Finally level 5, but he doesn't even have much mana to work with at this point anymore. And the Trance killing every single peon in the expansion.
Yet the Blademaster finally back, but the heal wave level 3 is forced because there's just so many Archers. Okay, there's going to be Blade level 3. He gets the Hunters. Can he go for Mirror Image? He needs to go Mirror Image. Doesn't quite have the mana yet. Does he have the mana? He does it. The Blade for the 3rd time. The Focus Fire is just ridiculous from the line. And now the Alchemist back with tons of mana. Now the expansion dead again. And GG for game 1. A domination from LawLiet.
Hitman went for crit level 2 and died literally 1 second later. So much for those crits.
Unfortunate. Yeah, the heroes can always carry, but not if they're dead and not if they don't have mana, which was the reality at the end of the game for both of those Orc heroes. For LawLiet, he seemed to play quite a clean game. It really came down to that. Like, I think you were exactly right with that Scroll the Beast. He should have just gone to the Mercenary camp. He should have never pushed that Expo. The fight didn't go his way. He could have got the Berserker, and it would have been beautiful.
Great game by LawLiet. He's almost the sleeper guy, I feel, in this bracket, right? Because he was against Foggy. Everybody's like, all right, Foggy's on fire these days. He's definitely going to make it to the semi. And then LawLiet's like, no, no, no. And then now Hitman, there's all this hype, NA #1, everything. And LawLiet is immediately from game #1, no, no, no again.
Yeah. And that was the map, right? That was the map that he won the last time they played each other. And, you know, it was the late game, it was the fights that were going Hitman's way in that last series they played together. But today, it's just all LawLiet. It's pure standard, no trickery, nothing. Nothing crazy that maybe we expected a little bit coming into it from LawLiet's side. Just straight up solid play. And Hitman macroed very well. He seemed to have a solid early game. But then in the fights, crumbled a little bit.
Absolutely. You know what I really like as well is that we got some special things and features here at the DreamHack Championship, and one of them is the Demo Man as a weatherman. What's the Warcraft weather like currently, Remo? Talk to us.
Well, it's looking quite pleasant. It might be autumn here. Hitman perhaps not having the best time, but for LawLiet, he turned around nicely. It was a good early game for Hitman, but here we have the big overextension. Hitman pushes past the middle, going in quite deep, somehow ends up behind enemy lines. We see the front line revolves around here, and positioning in this matchup extremely important. Hunters and Grunts are there to block, but what's really doing the damage is the ranged units in the back. We have the archers down here, perfectly protected. They really can't be dealt with at all. And all the meanwhile, they're shooting arrows, doing damage. Ideally, want to connect with the Blade Master and the Grunts towards the back, but perfect positioning by LawLiet, and Hitman probably going a bit too deep to defend all that. So for LawLiet, this fight is looking great. Hitman, his range damage is supposed to be the Serpent Wards. They're also going to have good range and can fire away, especially able to take out these Huntresses quickly. But there we go. But we had hardly any. He went in really ham. Normally with this Orc army, you try to take a position, set up the Serpent Wards, the Snake Pit as we like to call it, and then fight with many of these Serpent Wards at the same time. But Hitman seemingly got a bit overeager, a bit impatient, and because of that, this fight is going to go LawLiet's way. Great positioning, Hitman. It seemed like this early game was absolutely amazing, as we saw with the Keeper not being able to level for so long, and then here at this moment, deciding to go for the Alchemist around. Until now, maybe he can eject without losing too much, but here now he commits for the Alchemist, and that is going to fail. Alchemist will not fall. The Shadowhunter almost dying himself. Great save there by Hitman, by the way. Double speed scrolls, he barely gets away. I think the replay isn't quite going to show it all, but we remember the highlights. He fogs around the trees and barely saves his second hero, but it wasn't quite enough, and LawLiet takes the first map with that. And that means we're going to go into a short break now before we come back with map 2.
And we are back with our second semifinal of the day, about to go into the second map from this series. So far, looked pretty close at times, but then once they got into the fights, LawLiet seemed to dominate Hitman at every corner.
The weather pleasant, according to Remo. I feel like if you ask Hitman, he'd say it was raining bows and glaives, or arrows and glaives. Yeah. On that first map, we'll see if that's the case as well in map number 2. We're going to be playing on Conceal Hill here between those two players. One of the maps that you almost always see in series. Let's jump right into it. Starting in the top right hand side, playing as the Red Night Elf from South Korea. It is LawLiet.
And in the bottom left, on the ropes, for one of the first times actually in this tournament, from America, it is Hitman. And Concealed Hill, I would expect a relatively standard game yet again. This map, when it first came out, it was around the time when Keeper became popular. They kind of synced up with each other, and this map is, as you pointed out, always played in even best of 3s, sometimes even best of 1s. We see this map. It is kind of the gold standard for Orc against Night Elf, so I'd expect, again, pure standard, again, an expansion attempt from both players, again, Grunt Shaman, and again, Keeper versus Blade Master.
In the recent series that Hitman played against LawLiet, again, that was only 2 weeks ago. On Autumn Leaves and Northern Isle, he played the Tier 3 style, but CORSAIR Hill, that was the map where he said, okay, I can't do that style here, and he played Standard with the Expo and staying Tier 2 the entire time.
Yeah, the map is very, very large. To get from main base to expansion or expansion to expansion, especially, it's a long rush distance, which makes it quite easy not to creep the expansion. It's the hardest expansion in the whole map pool currently really to creep, but easy to secure it and easy to hold it later on just because it takes 30, 40 seconds to walk across the map with anything other than Huntresses, which is why we tend to get into 2-base macro games, and we tend to go into the late game. If ever we're going to have a 30, 40, 50-minute game, it's going to be here on Concealed Hill.
This is a map where if I was an Orc, I would be so paranoid about the AP, because I feel like as a spectator, personally, I've seen it so many times and tucked in different corners, and you kind of have to check for all of them at the perfect time, and if you even just barely miss it, we've seen that Ancient Protector allowing the Night Elf to do so much damage at times with it. LawLiet again with a class of attack here. 2 games out of 2 opening item. He has to be pretty happy with this. I mean, we saw him before get, you know, a little bit annoyed at the first ring that he dropped, but so far perfect drops. Hitman, what does he get? Oh my god, not like this.
To be fair, though, it's not as terrible on a Blade Master as it might be on an Archmage. It's good later on against the Acid Bomb,
he's gonna get it!
Focus Fire.
Oh my god.
No way.
He got it.
He actually did get it.
He's level 2.
Oh my god, Hitman with the last hit with the Peon. The first one, LawLiet smiling, you can see on the right-hand side. That's the first one of the tournament. We haven't seen any of those. Oh my lord.
Is it greedy to just go away with your keeper like this, or is it just, you know, the stars aligned and somehow the archer damage? Because I saw this coming. I saw the archer damage was going to do enough for the Peon to finish it.
Yeah, well, generally you'll creep both at the same time. That's quite standard. Here we're going to see it again.
A replay of a
He attacked it twice!
Yeah,
he attacked it twice!
Boom.
Oh no! And the reason that can happen is because he's the multitasking of creeping both camps. He was just starting to set up at his turtles with the Treants and the Keeper of the Grove.
Yeah.
His attention was gone just for a second. We saw him move the attack on the Ancient War, and then probably looked away, and uh-oh, the Peon gets the last hit. An excellent play for Hitman. Not, of course, the end of the world, but it will certainly delay the level 3 Keeper. The Blade's almost level 3, though.
Yeah, that's insane. He started, like, he got level 2 so quick, thanks to this little snipe. You know, it might not seem like much. He's like, yeah, it's just a creep. No. It's so important to be able to get that. So now we got Blade 2.7, Keeper 2.4. He already has Dust. This archer is dead here. That's going to be a little bit more experience going to Hitman, unless there can be a deny from that hunt. I mean, that's a long shot here.
It doesn't look like the Huntress is going towards. It will be 40 experience in the bag. That'll be very, very close. Any kill, I believe, even a Wisp at this point, will grant the level 3 Blade, but the Keeper is creeping. Not that efficient, though. 1 Treant here. Oh, did he only summon 1 Treant, perhaps? He should have 2 here.
Probably not. I think just it worked out this way, like with the damage on the Treants. And also he wanted to play it safe, right? Like he could have gone for the Merchant, but it's a much tougher camp here than these little Murlocs. If the Blade, if there's even a chance that the Blade might be on you, you don't want to do that, because then he's going to steal everything and you'll be in even more trouble. All right, Blade, 1 kill away from level 3. Does he steal the Murloc?
He can get both. So. I think this is guaranteed. He gets that, gets the Treant, even the crit to seal the deal. Why not? There's the level 3 on the Blade against currently 2.7 on the Keeper. All right, Staff of Teleportation, of course, on the Blade, looking for the Tree of Life. Also has to keep an eye on that Ancient Protector you pointed out earlier. Plenty of spots, and now it is nighttime, and Night Elf always has the advantage of having Ultra Vision that LawLiet has already upgraded, and the Orc does not. Wisps on the menu, apparently. That's 1. The level 3 Blade does so much damage. 1 crit could almost one-shot a Wisp.
Oh, he blocked the Wisp from going on the left-hand side. That was sick. We had 1, 2, 3 Peasant, Carson. Can we get 1, 2, 3 Wisp here, perhaps, in this game? The 2 Sentry Wards, by the way. I mean, yes, Night Elf has Ultra Vision, but so does Hitman, I feel like, in this game. Because he set up 1 on the top left-hand side, 1 in the bottom right, and he sees so much thanks to these 2 Sentry Wards here.
Yeah, seemingly he's confident to find the expansion on his own, because those wards, they scout just both lanes of the map. Okay, Blade Master Entangle, but not as squishy as he was on Autumn Leaves. Now he's level 3 before he was only level 1. A much better game so far for Hitman. 3 Wisps going across the map. Oh, is this some hidden Ancient Protector action?
They went through the blind spot. They went through the center. Isn't that sick? He has like Sentry on the left, Sentry on the right. They go perfectly in the center. As he might know that the Shadow is going to be creeping everywhere else than this location, right? Because for the Shadow now, it's going to be Small Turtle and maybe the green spot on the right-hand side or the Expo next.
And the Blade Master,
this should not be detected.
He's looking for the expansion with the Blade right now, and he's looking for the creeping. but he doesn't see LawLiet. LawLiet, the APs, might be too late to cancel them. Hitman isn't finished in creeping those turtles. Okay, now he is.
At least Hitman's adding the War Mill here, as should you, right?
Yeah.
He went for the Lodge first, he added more units. So he will be able to go Demolishers, but 3 APs. When you go for this, though, you're supposed to go Nature's Blessing. There's no
doesn't see
Nature's
him.
Blessing. That's going to take them like 13 minutes to get to that main base, no?
Yeah, it will take quite a while. It's going to
Okay,
take him,
starts.
okay, 30
Starts now.
seconds for that, so it'll
Actually-
be done pretty much on time.
A little bit later, right?
Yeah.
It only now started, so
Yeah.
they're going to have to start trotting across here, making their way towards the Orc base. I mean, LawLiet, since this was detected, I think he knows there is a big timer on this now, because the Demolisher should start momentarily for Hitman here. He chooses to engage without the APs here. And there's already Serpent Ward, but no healing wave, as Shadow is 1.6.
Yeah, this is quite the investment for LawLiet, too. Unlike the single Ancient Protector, the Orc can overreact to 3 Ancient Protectors. He can go for that Demolisher. He can even go for immediate reinforced defenses if Hitman wants once he has the gold. You can just straight up counter these and you'll be ahead. So Hitman, if he gets that Demolisher out, if he can get reinforced defenses, which is on the way, if he can get out of this without losing too much, he will be in a good position. The Blade on top of that AP, blocking the route for now. Nature's Blessing is now finished, but as you mentioned, it took a little too long there, but soon these APs will be throwing some boulders.
Yeah, but first Demolisher here just came out.
Wow.
It's going to be covered by some snakes. We saw Remine against Focus on this very map try to do a Protector push as well, which was defended, and eventually, I mean, after that was defended, it was just over. Like, Focus just countered and won easily. Can Hitman do the same thing here? There is no room for mistakes. You absolutely cannot afford to lose your Demolisher. LawLiet places 2 APs on the left-hand side to shut down the mining, because those are going to be killing the peons very quickly. And Hitman actually dives for the army, because there is only one Protector on the right-hand side, but there is Sentinel to detect that Blade.
Oh, the Demolisher working on one of the APs, uproots to eat a tree. The reinforced defenses is really, really impactful right now. Is that a second Demolisher? Yes, a second Demolisher is out. LawLiet doesn't have a ton of lumber, or didn't rather, and now he maybe could go for an expansion, but instead he's going for Tree of Eternity behind this. So LawLiet with a plan B, because these 2 Demolishers are eventually going to clean up these APs. The shop goes down, that means no more healing, but there is still 3 salves. 1 demo kills one of those APs, the second one about to go down, and LawLiet might have to back away. But I think he's bought himself some decent time. I do think Hitman probably ahead after this,
Yeah.
but he's got 8 supply now in Demolishers.
Yeah, which is not the most effective in fights. It's okay against hunts, even though they're going to be moving around and trying to dodge some of these shots. So I think the transition for LawLiet is probably going to be mass archers.
Yeah.
And we're not seeing a situation like we saw in Focus against...
Oh, the Blade!
Yeah,
No
okay.
shop. Okay, he does get away.
It still has no healing wave, actually. That's the
Yeah.
big problem here. But yeah, I think mass archers behind this makes a lot of sense, because there is not many grunts, and he forced... Fortress starts! Liquid fire!
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying before, is like, if neither player has an expansion, how do you get the better army? You can't get the supply advantage, just both tend to go tier 3. So we're gonna see probably the Bloodlust, the Pit Lord, what you mentioned. We saw in Autumn Leaves previously in their last series. Now we're gonna see on Concealed Hill. That last AP is being, as annoying as it possibly can, and the shop is being rebuilt. Yeah, that Blade almost died. That's definitely a possibility now that the Keeper's level 3, but Hitman has to play it a little bit safe for a little while longer.
It makes sense to go for Windwalk level 2 with how quick he got a Blade level 3, right?
Right.
But I do wish to see some sort of mirror image eventually to break away from that Entangle and Acid Bomb as well, because that's always super dangerous. LawLiet is still sticking around here. He's trying to buy a little bit more time, which is a bit surprising. I don't think he's expecting to really be able to achieve any kill onto this army, and Hitman still being very cautious. I think he knows that by now this has been defended, but he wants to make sure he protects his Demolisher. Actually, whoa, they were going really deep here. This AP is so evil, like, you know, just buying so much time, hiding in the forest.
Yeah, it can go all the way around too and eventually root, and Hitman has to spend a ton of time dealing with it. Tier 3 now done, Priestess of the Moon on the way, and the Archer transition will begin. There's
He should
marksmanship.
send a Blade in to detect the AP.
Yeah,
Keep
definitely.
shooting it. That's a bit of a mistake here.
Yeah, I feel like he's given a bit too much respect to the army that was very, very low. This Demolisher, they keep wanting to be friends with the Ancient Protector, but they're overstaying their welcome, just like this AP has, which will soon fall, but it's bought as much time as it pretty much possibly can. He could even go deeper into the trees.
What the hell?
My God. When will he die? When will he die?
This is a very remote location. Imagine he sends a couple wisps in there eventually and gets like a triple roast.
True. Yeah, he definitely could use that later on. Absolutely for more APs. Blade, using that Windwalk level 2, could even maybe kill some Huntresses, but Entangle gonna, of course, stop the potential for damage.
Actually, he wasn't paying attention. He could have stolen the item, I think, if he had been a little quicker, but it was a greater healing that went to the Alchemist.
I'm wondering, now with these 2 Demolishers, do you grab a Zeppelin to help try to micro them? Oh, Blade Master. Oh no, the Blade Master, the Focus Fire. Oh, he didn't go Aura first. He went for the Owl Scout, and that's the level 3 Blade. A massive mistake from Hitman there.
Yeah, and behind this, we see +2 armor starting as well as Bloodlust. This will be a great timing, perhaps, for LawLiet to attack now. He knows that there is no Blade for a while longer. 95 seconds, as we can see in the top left here. That's going to be a very long time without the Blade Master. And Hitman, he's the one that runs into LawLiet in the center of the map. He's going to get entangled very shortly. Perhaps one Shaman dies pretty much instantaneously. That's terrible. Before going into Bloodlust, you want to keep every unit alive. He did drop a greater mana at least.
Yeah, that's going to help out a ton. The Tree of Life also coming up right now is going to help out a ton. I'm wondering, I think it's being built in the main base, actually, of LawLiet currently, but that's going to be very, very safe, so that's how LawLiet's going to get further ahead. He, of course, cannot break the main of Hitman with the reinforced defenses and the 2 Demolishers that are going to be in the back, but he can buy time for a free expansion, and Hitman might have to Tiny Great Hall once his Blade is finally back in 52 more seconds, and you know what? The Owl Scout's going to see it right away. Oh, there are the Demolishers, all right. They're going to cancel the expansion, potentially.
Yeah, LawLiet has no stuff. No stuff of preservation, no stuff of teleportation.
Oh my god, could he TP maybe? It might be worth it.
I think he might just let it die and defend with like the 1 Archer. Claws +12 picked up here. Easy to give that to the Keeper. Actually, Keeper would have 2 Claws and then eventually he's supposed to get Orb. Yeah. Which so far he has only given to the Priestess.
Oh, the Alchemist. The Keeper. Okay, the tree was canceled. The Alchemist has to be careful. Where's the staff? TP actually forced there. A little bit sloppy with that Alchemist. And now the Blade is back. The Zeppelin is still alive to the north of the base. And it's one base. Now Tree of Life in a very unorthodox position, but could waddle over to the red in the middle if he would desire to do that. And Demolishers. This is very Night Elf Miri.
Yeah.
Very unorthodox.
Except here there is Al, which he underestimated one time. If he does again and loses that Zeppelin, that would be disastrous here. Isn't it really hard for this army to deal with Bloodlust? Like when there is a whole bunch of Grunts Bloodlusted and Healing Wave?
Yeah, the issue becomes if there is a bunch of Wisps there, the Shamans can Bloodlust everything. He detonates it, they Bloodlust everything again, he detonates it, and then what do you know, you have no Purge for the actual Entangle. Yeah. That can tend to happen, but Hitman actually manually casts his Bloodlust on the Grunts that are in a good position, and the Blade Master specifically. So
wait, he never turns in on automatic?
Not often. He normally casts it before the fight, but if he gets caught out of position, maybe he will. It looks like it's on auto-cast right now, just as I say that. It should never be on the Shamans, though.
Okay, that guy definitely drives stick.
Oh, the dragon kills a shaman. The creepjack, the serpent wards are there, but not the biggest of snake pits currently.
Oh my god, the shadow is taking so much damage. Trying to retreat here. 35 hit points, and he's poisoned. Hitman, can he make it out? The Blade Master gets targeted next. He has nothing to break away from there. He's gonna take down, thanks to the acid bomb and targets. What a catch by LawLiet to show up at this timing here, and he punishes Hitman yet again. It looked good for Hitman after he had defended, but he loses Blade Master carelessly.
Yeah.
And then immediately behind this insane Creepjack. Cost him dearly as well. He's getting +3 armor.
Yeah, that's so expensive too. 375 lumber for that is ridiculous. Okay, the Demolisher, at least one of them, maybe one of them went down actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Priestess staff's back. Yeah, the Blade's been killed 5 times now in this series. Maybe 4 of those were avoidable for Hitman so far. And the Blade, 70 seconds. The Shadow's creeping, still has a strong army, and it's still even supply, but LawLiet, 1,200 gold. I wouldn't be surprised to see Chimera Roost in this game.
Yeah, it seems like against an opponent that's getting so many grunts and not really much anti-air, because Shamans are pretty terrible against air. That would be good. Usually LawLiet, is pretty quick to press the trigger on those Chim Roosts, much like Moon would be at times as well. But so far, not quite going there just yet. He actually just broke up keep 53 right now. And he's looking for another favorable fight. This Owl has done so much for LawLiet. He's so good at sending it in the right place and seeing everything he needs to see.
Yeah, it's proven that Bottom is not just an aura bot, not just an orb carrier, but also quite a good hero if used properly, and it's definitely being used properly. Those Chimera Roosts could be a possibility, but I suppose the Zeppelin's been scouting a ton as well, so it's tough to maybe trick Hitman too much. 15 seconds for the Blade that should definitely buy a Potion of Invulnerability now. He has not bought one the entire series. Heal Scrolls, quite important as well against the Huntresses and the Acid Bomb.
What could he get against Chimps? He has no Bestiary.
Yeah, he's going to need, if he doesn't have a Bestiary and Chimera Roost come out, then he's probably done for. But, of course, you just go for Bats if you do have a Bestiary already, and some Raiders. And Ancient of Wind was built.
What the?
Minus
He's sending
arm.
a lot of Wisps out.
Yeah.
Fairy Dragons? They got buffed in the last patch, and they're really good against any type of casters.
Yeah, that could be
And I think
pretty
he's
good,
anticipating Tri-Hero, because Hitman, when he goes for this, he always goes for the Pit Lord third.
Yep. There we see it, actually. Howl of Terror, of course. Huge, cleave, huge, and just having a tank in the front. Something to be focused other than the Blade is important, even if it dies. First really big fight that could be described as even 64 against 61. Blade focused all the time. Wisps find their mark at the back of the Bloodlust. The Pit Lord getting to half HP. The Blade, oh my god, he's just 70 health. There's just nothing Hitman can do to keep his heroes alive, it seems like.
Yeah, it's Heal Waves level 2, but it feels like he would need it level 4 at this point,
Yeah.
with how much damage is being applied to his army. Finally, the Grunts get a good front line at the front, and there is a heal scroll on the Blade. He's getting targeted again. Uses that on time. Purchase away. He's ticking down right now. Thanks to Acid Bomb. Going to be able to use the healing wave, but the Pit Lord's being targeted next. And LawLiet, the fight just feels so easy for him. He just goes into the fight, kills whatever's at the front, and then if he sees one hero a little bit too far, or where they're supposed to be, because they're melee, he just clicks those down with the Entangle and Acid Bomb.
Yeah, very, very well done. As soon as that Blade is in the front line, just like Happy did earlier against Moon to the Demon Hunter to the Keeper, now is happening to the Blade Master. The Grunts are all falling. They're attacking an Alchemist. They need to get to the back to attack those archers. They are the damage source now. The Pit Lord that would reduce that damage source is almost dying himself. Alchemist needs to get away. Doesn't have any more heal sprays. This might be where LawLiet needs to get out.
This Shadow needs level 5 super bad. Like, Healing Wave level 3 would do so much for him. He still has the Greater Mana here. If Hitman's somehow able to kill a bunch of units here, maybe even that Priestess, that would be amazing for him. The Blade Master being targeted. Priestess still has Invul. There was the Greater Healing on the Alchemist. Used the Blade goes down once more. Staff out on the Alchemist. Priestess being attacked, but that's only by the Pit Lord there. He uses the Invul and he's gonna get out with all of the heroes alive. He lost, I guess, his Hunt frontline, but I don't think he cares too much at this point with how much he just killed. And he knows that Hitman has no expansion.
Yeah, LawLiet just has all the answers. The staff perfectly on time. The push and vulnerability is just there. The talent portal is there. And all the archers are still there. The expansion is mining. Hitman buys a tiny Great Hall because he has to. That's the only play he has. And he's got to get the Blade back. He hasn't even started building it. And as we know, it's going to be like 90 seconds away. It's going to be a long time. One archer finally cleaning up that Demolisher that might have actually been better used in that last fight to kill those Huntresses even faster. The Blade might just need to be Tavern revived. 107 seconds until the Blade is back, and these Night Elf heroes are even getting stronger, but nothing to save them from hero focus currently.
LawLiet didn't even use his Ancient of Wind, by the way. I wonder what he made it for. I think maybe Talons could have been good against Grunts. Maybe you're overthinking it. Maybe you just wanted a Hippo to get rid of this pesky Zep.
True, yeah.
But then he left one Archer at the Expo. He's like, one Archer is enough to deal with one Demolition and one Zep. And he's actually right. That Archer has been zoning out the Zeppelin and the Demolisher at the Expo this whole time. So Hitman rebuys the Blade. He knows there's too much momentum right now for LawLiet. He wants to interrupt him. He wants to catch him at the fountain. But he's going to be a little late to the party.
Yeah, the entire fountain crept and everything healed up except for that Keeper. There is a town portal, though, for him. Pushed in vulnerability again on the Priestess. All three heroes safe because of those 3 items he has, the Staff to TP, the Potion. And the Blade got his potion stolen that Hitman has desperately needed. I count now 6 Blade Master losses in 2 maps, I believe it was. Hitman trying to hold on. Bestiary finally coming online. There's the first Fairy Dragon, actually, and more Wisps. But this is just looking impossible for Hitman. 20 supply down currently.
There is nothing in this army that can kill Fairy Dragons from Hitman, unless he wants to really use a lot of snakes to target that down, so that would be useful against this many casters and Tri-Hero. But LawLiet, so confident to target fire immediately onto the Pit Lord. Usually the Blade is next.
Oh my god.
So much damage. He doesn't even have time to use anything. LawLiet goes up 2-0, looking like he's completely in charge in this matchup here against Hitman.
Yeah, my lord, that was a great game from LawLiet. Really good fights. The APs didn't work out, but they bought enough time for the Tier 3, and then the army that was strong enough bought enough time for that expansion, although it got cancelled once. Didn't quite matter. LawLiet, yeah, just plays very well strategically, and also he saved those APs for Game 2, which I quite like. He didn't just throw them away, and now Hitman's always going to be thinking, is he hiding APs? Is it 1? Is it 3? Do I need to overreact? Do I need to scout for this expansion? He's going to have so much going through his head, and he's already down 0-2.
Yeah, beautifully played. I'm a big fan of Yannet Garcia, but we got an even better weatherman here with Remo, so let's go and check in with him. He's at the panel over there.
Heartbreaking loss for Hitman. Beautiful early game, started all with the peon, then he defends the AP push, and it seems like this game is his. Wants to keep creeping with the Shadow Hunter, of course, but also wants to keep playing actively with this guy. Blade Master here, a bit eager, and this is where the crucial mistake happens. First, he's just trying to get a last hit maybe. Cheeky little play, by the way. Gets entangled first. Sticks around, no detection because he wants the tome. Did it for the Twitch chat. Picks up the tome here. So far, so good. But then, and this is the gut-wrenching move. We have the owl. I think he wasn't anticipating the owl. Owl summoned, Blade Master detected. And this is where all of NA starts to cry. Because the Blade Master is killed. And all the momentum that was gathered washed away. And from there on, LawLiet takes the lead. Hitman perhaps still with a decent chance this game, but until then, huge lead. And here it all falls apart with the Blade Master dying once again. Now 2-0 lead for LawLiet. Rough position for Hitman. And before we see map 3, we're going to give over into a short break.
We're back. LawLiet dominating in 2 maps now. Hitman struggling, not just with the early games, but with the Blade Master later on. A ton of losses so far, more than a handful even, and now we're going into Last Refuge, which could potentially be no easier. This is a map that Hitman has struggled on in the past, not against the Keeper, not against the Blade Focus Fire, but the Talons.
Absolutely. Let's jump right into it. Carson here. Last Refuge, our third map, starting in the bottom left-hand side of the map, in the red trunks, the Night Elf player from South Korea. It is LawLiet.
In the upper right, potentially playing his last game at this tournament at DreamHack. It is Hitman. All right, we'll have to keep an eye on those altars to see, will it be a Demon Hunter, will it be a Keep? The Keeper is suboptimal, to say the least, on this map, but it has been played in the past for Hitman. I would expect a Blade Master. But yeah, Talon's very likely here.
Is there any cheer message in the chat that works for Hitman? like the froggy for Foggy and stuff?
He does have an emote. He's got the Blade Master in front of an American flag.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
And he goes for Keeper, Carson.
All right.
What's happening?
I'm cursed. I'm cursed this tournament. I say one thing, the opposite happens. I just said it was bad on this map, but apparently it's good, and you know, pros do know best. So LawLiet, of course, has a way to play this that makes it much stronger than the Talons, I'm sure, or else he would have played that style. Worth noting that he has played Keeper on this map against Hitman previously in Anaheim. And he went Talons at Tier 2 with the Keeper first, and then Hitman managed to win that game, actually. So we'll see if LawLiet plays Standard with the Keeper, or maybe lures or wins at Tier 2.
Yeah, perhaps a bit of a mind game. LawLiet, he's one of the rare elves that when I've seen him play with, I think it was Lors and Panda second, looked incredible. He's so good at leveling that Panda, knowing when to fight, and really like frying the Orc army the way you should do it. And I've been super impressed with him this tournament. Like, he's lost a single series to Moon, but other than that, he's been very clean. Against Hawk, it was kind of close. But so far here, looking absolutely incredible. Perfect against Foggy as well, like, which was, I think, a surprise to a lot of people. It's almost like we slept on this guy this whole time.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think we've continued to kind of do that. But yeah, he's proving us time and time again really be a big favorite here.
He drops the ring, finally.
There we go.
He dropped 2 claws, won the games. He drops the ring. Imagine if he loses.
It's always
Perfect
that first
science. Perfect Warcraft bro science confirmed, Carson.
Do you have a chart going in a Google Doc right now, just keeping track of all the first items?
It's not a chart. It's just the first items. Ring loses, claws wins. Simple.
All right, Blade with a nice circlet, actually, that he did find. Could even buy another one later on. Gonna take the Priest. Wards were nice. Illusions can also be good to help you even creep those mercenary camps on Last Refuge. The Keeper in a weird position, but will be able to maybe take away that Ogre Magi. He's gonna pull it and entangle it because he didn't go for Treants first. This will be mana heavy, but he does have full mana. Interesting creep route from LawLiet.
This Magi. Bloodlusted, juiced out of his mind, but unable to hit currently. And the Blade Master is very close. Can he show up on time? I don't think so. He sees that there is no creep, so he finally noticed, but I think he's going to be too late. And it's another ring for LawLiet. He can't be happy about this.
GG. Archer, focus, could go down. There is dust, there's a speed scroll. It could always be a nice block, but nice pop out of the Windwalk, but nicer entangle. And the Archer will live. Speed scroll, Windwalk, is he going to be able to get it? Does get the first blood. Nicely done from Hitman, but LawLiet forcing everything out of Hitman just to get that one Archer kill.
LawLiet was blocking the Blade with his Keeper, and the Blade was just happy to hit him, and then he's like, wait a second. Why are you not feeling anything? You have 2 rings, don't you? I have to get out of there. Replenishment Potion, the perfect item here, because like while a salve will heal you up, you also kind of need to replenish mana before you go again, so he needs to get out of range of these pesky units chasing him right now. And to be able to use that. The tech differential, quite significant, by the way.
Yeah, that's going to be Shadowhunter before Alchemist, absolutely. The Grunts, I think, we're just looking for an Ancient Protector, but there is a creep route where you can go put 5 wards on the high ground at the lab, and you can actually creep that lab as your first camp with your Shadowhunter alone. So that could be what Hitman's looking for. The Blade uses that Replenishment Potion to get that extra Windwalk, and he's now looking for an expansion, but Hitman can never seem to find these expos. Oh, no, he might find it perfectly. He's going to wait for the Wisp. He actually doesn't wait for him to build it. You think it's better to kill that or just to wait for the expansion to be constructed there?
I think it's okay to get it like this, because then you can still stand in the avenue here and intercept whatever Wisp would head there. And we had Sentinel researched, by the way. The Blade Master losses have been the big problem. I think everybody could agree with this here. So Hitman needs to fix that. He needs to be really careful once there is Sentinel, which now there already is. Okay, he uses it in front of him, actually. He doesn't even care that Hitman will know.
A Blade this time.
Can we put an insurance on that Blade, Carson?
It would be very expensive to put insurance on the Blade. Probably more expensive than a Tavern Revive. And this is looking scary. If there was one more Entangle, he would have got paid out full for that. So, rough for Hitman with this Blade, but not a terrible early game here in Map 3. The expansion now will come up because LawLiet realizes the Blade has to go back home to meet up with the Shadowhunter. And he will be healing up, and then he'll come back with Staff off cooldown at least. But then LawLiet's already going to be on the map with an Alchemist, I would imagine.
Yeah, he didn't have enough gold to start both the Expo and Alchemy, so he prioritizes the expansion. It's super like face up, right? It's so obvious what he wants to go for, which is the expansion here. Look at that Blade Master. He's about to sneak back down, perhaps get a cancel. Can LawLiet anticipate that? I don't think so, because he sent the hunts out on the map. Okay, he's walking back now. He's going to scout this. That might encourage him to go for the Creepjack. No, I think he knows that the Blade was going to come back to try and get the cancel. Where is that staff cooldown? It's up. So he might force the staff immediately. Those Hitmen choose to stay. It's so hard to make the calculations here. Will he be able to get out? He's trying to win walk away, but there's Sentinel. There's a dust. Can the next Entangle land? He's not paying attention.
Doesn't realize. He's got a staff right now. He's got to staff the Blade. Is it going to go down? Hitman with another mistake with the Blade Master. He can get behind the creeps, but another Acid Bomb is definitely going to seal the deal. Suicides it, I believe, to the creeps and the Shadowhunter. No. Man, that's just an unacceptable mistake from Hitman.
And that gave Keeper level 3 here. Of course, we have the first Shaman out, but that's the same dynamic as the previous game. LawLiet's so confident to move out on the map because he knows that there is no blades. One of the win was picked up, actually, by the Shadowhunter. And here we see the chase. He stopped moving the blade entirely here after the Entangle, even.
Yeah, he could just staff right there. The lab is quite difficult to creep. You tend to have either a really low HP Grunt or a really low HP Shadowhunter. But obviously, at this level, you need to be able to do both. And LawLiet needs to be careful because that one to the wind you mentioned. But the blade is going to be quite a while, another 30 seconds. He didn't even get that expansion cancel either.
Hitman perhaps feeling the pressure of this moment here. The biggest tournament of all time on Warcraft 3. Already guaranteed 10,000 bucks, but if he were to win here, that's 12 more, so 22 total, and a chance at $50,000 for the champion. Shadowhunter, whoa!
Whoa, 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 yeah, you don't want to get another boulder thrown on him.
Everything's low.
Oh, the in-snare, heal wave saves the shaman, but that grunt is certainly dead. The inner fire and everything, and the priest healing just makes it way too difficult to creep in the face of the keeper. The blade is now going to be back, but LawLiet is just going to get this whole creep camp. That's going to be Alchemist level 3.
LawLiet looking like an absolute monster in this series so far. And he's not even doing anything really fancy. He's just doing perfect execution. Maybe he heard Happy in the interview. He's like, that guy's onto something. Just don't make mistakes. It's simple, right?
There has been very few mistakes overall in all 3 maps. To give credit absolutely where credit is due. The Archer caught out of position.
He's towering. Hitman's towering. He sent 3 peons on the right-hand side. He's starting to feel desperate here with the way this game is going. So he's going to try and tower the Expo, but LawLiet is the one taking the fight to him. And there is an AP at the Expo of LawLiet to buy a lot of time there.
Just perfect from LawLiet. This attack is perfect as well. Maybe a... Yeah, Hunter's going to get purged. That'll be level 3 on the Shadowhunter. So that's nice, but the shop has gone down. That means, okay, he's got double clarity. That is what he needs for that shadow, but he's going to have to wait. He's building a shop below the red camp, and then he can build 2 towers. He needs reinforced defenses, though, or else LawLiet is just going to counterattack, I would imagine.
And LawLiet sees it immediately, starts moving the AP, and this army of Hitman, it's going to be like him at the WC Champions tournaments. Too late to help out with this.
All right, the AP in possession. 46, or 48 rather, against 40. It is a winnable fight for Orc, but it's not going to get any easier. That +2 attack is going to kick in. Peons are found, shop is cancelled, Hitman.
Supply blocked.
Yeah, he might have to just try to expand here. He really might have to. This is looking like a very difficult situation to find the right response for Hitman.
It's quite nice that he's able to secure that, but I think LawLiet understands the spot that he's in now. He's like, I have Expo running for this whole time. All I have to do is sit back. Sit back, you don't have expansion starting. You're either gonna all-in me, or you're gonna take a late Expo against which I can just hit a perfect timing and finish this off and move on to the grand finals.
Ooh, and Lionhorn. Rune Brace is awful, of course, but the Lionhorn is excellent. Hitman goes towards the main base now. The Trappers were not cleaned up at his natural, so he can't expand behind this. I think he truly is, as you mentioned, desperate here. Could be the final fight if Hitman sticks around. The Snake Pit, the Scroll of the Beast, the Wisp coming in to get rid of that extra damage. The Ancient of War is being pressured, but that's not too important. The Huntress is in the front, taking quite a bit of damage, but the Alchemist is always going to heal them up.
He has yet to use the Wand of the Wind at all. Not sure what he's saving it for. I think perhaps to cancel out Healing Spray might be nice.
Yeah.
If you use it instantly, then you make sure that the mana was used anyway. Not going to use it for this one. He might wait until the Ancient of War goes down, but LawLiet doing such a good job saving that with the Wisp repair here. This one hunts. Going a little too deep. Blades could be in danger. That wouldn't be the first time this series, but perhaps the last.
Critical Strike level 2, I think Mirror Image should have been skilled there. Honestly, the Keeper almost level 4 and greater mana to pass over to that Alchemist. The tower would be very impactful if it got up. The shop also the same. 4 Serpent Wards. The Huntresses are starting to fall. There is the Wand of the Wind to cancel out that heal spray. The Blade Master getting quite low. Archer's Hitman finding quite a few kills.
Wow.
He's got the supply almost even now.
Yeah, that shop needs to finish yesterday here for him, so he can start healing up, popping some clarities here for the Shadowhunter, just building the true Snake Pit that's going to help him against this. There is a lot of archers here for LawLiet, so that's allowing him to shoot from afar here with the cover of the Ancient of War, especially taking down those Serpent Wards. That tower, man. Is he pulling a Taker and tower creeping the lab next? What's going on?
It's really good against what was once the Huntresses, but against the Archers, of course, the Snakes in that tower not going to be too great. The shop, though, will be excellent. It is up. Level 2 heal wave is only 0.3 of a level away, and that's going to be impactful as well. LawLiet with a ton of archers, mercenary support as well, and now glaive throwers too. He's going into upkeep with glaive throwers to hold on to this push. I mean, he knows Hitman's desperate.
Think about it. Neither player can fully engage here. Hitman can't go forward because then the Ancient of War will be shooting and he's going to overextend and lose everything. And LawLiet can't move inside of this position. So he's like, I got a mass ranged army. I can just sit there. You know, he's trying to pull Hitman out of position. You see what he's doing? He's engaging and he's saying, okay, you have to come down to me and then I'm going to pull back. The towers and Serpent Wards are not going to shoot anymore and I'm going to wear this army down. it's the perfect addition to add Glaive Throwers. I wouldn't even have thought of it, but that's why he's one of the best in the world. He's going to shoot those towers down from afar, and he's going to force Hitman to take a desperate engagement here. There it is.
Hitman sees that he can get a little bit of a positioning with the speed scroll. We saw that against Sock yesterday with the Headhunters. He goes for the Glaive Thrower, the Lightning Shield, detonated immediately, the Shadow Hunter as well. The Blade Master, though, the Heal Wave misses, and he's going to lose the Blade again, potentially for the last time of the tournament. The Lightning Shield and the Archers. Heal Spray gets canceled again. Shadow Hunter level 4, but he's got no mana.
Yeah, these Shamans don't do much against this army here, and that's going to be it. LawLiet with his 3-0 moves on to the Grand Finals, where he will face the Emperor himself, Happy. Hitman, he may have gone down here in the semifinals, but I think he's made a lot of fans, showing up really strong here, making NA proud. And I think it's not the last of him that we'll have seen, but this is LawLiet's moment here.
Yeah, that was very, very well played from LawLiet. Absolutely looking strong going forward. The question is, will he be able to do it against the Emperor? It's going to be very difficult, but we'll see what the desk has to say about it.
Thank you, guys. We have our grand finals. It's going to be a LawLiet from Korea against Happy the Emperor from Russia. I am still joined by the Back to Warcraft boys. Neo, Remo, obviously not quite the semifinals we were hoping for. LawLiet was just too damn strong in the matchup, Neo.
Yeah, feels like Hitman was right. It's not his strongest matchup, and LawLiet is so used to playing this in Asia. Got a few gifts with Blade Masters here and there. And super strong performance, super steady performance. No nerves at all.
I also want to say it looked good at times for him. Honestly, the early game for Hitman was always really good. He's known for preparing super well, having the right build, and he did. He got into a good position, but then gave it away every time. Here we see map 1, he was too aggressive, and the mistakes wouldn't stop there.
Yep, even earlier, right, against the Ancient of Protector, losing the Blade Master early on, trying to get the kill. I couldn't even blame him for it. I also thought, get the AP, but then he lost the Blade. That was just kind of the story of this entire best of 5. Blade Masters going down over and over again. I mean, I think especially in game 2, Remo, there was some real hope, right? With Bloodlust, with a pretty powerful army. But unfortunately for Hitman, it still wasn't enough.
Yeah, this was a painful one. Honestly, if you hold an AP push like that, LawLiet had like almost no chance anymore. But this is how you do it. Blade Master really cheeky, sticking around, and then he forgets that the bottom may have a reveal. We're gonna see it here in a moment. The Blade Master runs back into range, and Tangle, first hero dies. And as you said, it keeps happening this series. Suddenly the entire lead is gone. I think he could have still won it, but he should have won this game for sure after that early.
Yep, this was so close as well, right? The Shadow Hunter barely survives. You're waiting for the healing wave. It's almost there, but then the Blade Master goes down once more. I mean, perhaps not Hitman his best games, but LawLiet was flawless. He showed us that his Night Elf vs Orc is excellent. Hitman, though, still an amazing run. Semifinals is something to be very proud of. Johan said it, he does walk away with $10,000, but for now it is all about LawLiet, who does make it to the grand finals of one of the biggest tournaments we've ever seen, and he will duke it out with Happy the Emperor in that grand finals. He is joined by Hajin and Neo, so Neo, take it away.
Thank you, Roddy. We have our grand final and this man is in it. LawLiet 3-0. The early games though, LawLiet, didn't look too great for you, but in every single map you had a wonderful recovery. What's going through your head when you're falling a little behind in the early game?
우선 결승전에서 축하드립니다. 오늘 이렇게 3대0으로 지금 승리하셨지만 사실 초반에는 항상 약간 불리했던 것 같아요. 어떻게 역전할 수 있었고 그 상황에 어떤 생각이 이제 드시던가요?
히트맨 선수가 또 굉장히 잘하는 선수여가지고 좀 긴장을 제가 또 제일 많이 긴장한 매치였고요. 사실 이 대회에서 다른 경기 같은 경우에는 제가 질 가능성이 높아서 딱히 저도 뭐 후회 안 할 것 같긴 했는데 오크한테 지면 저 스스로도 후회하고 전 세계에 있는 오크 유저분들과 팬분들이 굉장히 슬퍼할 것 같아서 최선을 다해서 오크를 박살낼 거라고 생각하고 하니까 좀 잘 된 것 같습니다.
So actually I was really nervous coming into this matchup because Hitman is a really good player, and so far I was like, oh, it's okay if I lose, but I really didn't want to look against ORC, you know, for the fans and all the viewers out there. So with the confidence I had, I think I was able to come back into these games.
And that looked really good. We know from Hitman that he hates to play the talents or against the talents, but you decided to go for mass hunts and archers. Why did you make that decision?
화이트맨 선수가 사실 탈론을 되게 싫어하는 걸로 알고 있는데 왜 오늘 아처랑 헌터리스를 선택하셨나요?
오크를 이기는데 탈론까지 쓸 필요는 없습니다. 아처 헌트면 충분하죠.
We don't need to go onto the talons to beat Orc, you know. Archers and Hunters are way enough.
All right, we've seen you play great against Night Elf, against Human, and now against Orc. And you will be facing the first undead of your journey here, and it's probably the strongest in the world. Going into this tournament, you must have known if you want to win this, you have to go through Happy. So, do you have something prepared? Are you ready to take this trophy?
이번 대회 사실 언데드 말고 모든 종족을 만나셨는데 사실 이 대회에 오실 때 내가 정말 우승을 하려면은 어쨌든 언데드를 만나야 할 것이다. 그리고 세상에서 제일 잘하는 언데드를 이제 만나야 되잖아요. 좀 준비를 하시고 이제 이 트로피를 들어올리시려면 어떻게 해야 할까요?
사실 언대전을 준비를 안 하고 다른 선수들을 믿었는데 네, 다 실패를 했더라고요. 그래가지고 또 이제 해피 선수가 지금까지 맵을 한 경기도 내주지 않았기 때문에 일단 첫 번째 목표는 한 판을 이기는 거고, 방금 전에 듣기로는 대기실에서 제가 이기니까 해피 선수가 굉장히 또 좋아했다고 해가지고 또 분노가 끌어오르고 있기 때문에 제 120%를 발휘해가지고 최소 한 판 최대 이제 트로피를 제 걸로 가져오는데 노력하겠습니다.
I was actually hoping that the other players would take care of Happy, so I didn't really prepare, especially for this matchup against the Undead. And I heard earlier, just before the interview, that Happy was happy when he saw that I won the game. So my first objective was to win at least one game because Happy didn't drop any single map this tournament. So now I heard that, I'm a little bit angry and I'm going to play 120% of my performance to win the whole thing.
He should be scary for sure. Thank you, LawLiet. Good luck in the grand finals. We have a little bit of an extended break to give this man a bit of time to think. In 20 minutes, we start the biggest grand final of all time, and it's Happy versus LawLiet.